In the streaming wars, there are winners and there are losers. YouTube, Netflix, they're definitely winners. But Fox also, Fox Corp, not the Fox that Disney bought, but the Fox that remains, big time winner with their little streaming service Tubi that is quickly overtaking Disney+. And of the losers, we just found out, of course, that Comcast is not having fun with their streaming. But what if we told you that Disney has been outmaneuvered, Bob Iger, confusified, trickified, and outplayed by Rupert Murdoch? Folks, the facts are on the way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of every age, ethnicity, background, size, and belief, we sure are happy to have you here with us, coming to you live from the studio. Well, not live, it's pre-recorded, okay, but we're trying. Coming to you from the studio where it's always sunshiny here in the USA. Happy to give you our take on what's going on in streaming. Folks, Disney Plus is about to be overtaken in ratings by Tubi. Tubi! Half of you out there don't know what Tubi is. I didn't know what Tubi was 2 months ago. But Tubi is on its way to beating Disney Plus, and that sucker cost $400 million, and you won't believe the price tag on Disney Plus, but let's just say it's not $400 million. Let's bring the panel on. We'll explain what in the world is going on and why this could be yet another Disney disaster.
Can I throw something in here since we're talking about this? And forgive me if I'm restating this. Pro, could you put that graphic back up here?
Absolutely happy to do so.
If we can just talk about the timeline here. Obviously, Rupert Murdoch goes to Bob Iger. According to Bob Iger's own book, Rupert Murdoch goes to Bob Iger and he says, I'm thinking about maybe selling a good portion of Fox here. He comes to him like, oh, whatever shall I do? We're coming on dire financial straits here over at Fox. And Bob Iger comes in as the white knight to quote unquote save him. But in this case, he says, well, how much is it going to cost to buy this? It'll be about $40-50 billion. And then, of course, Brian Roberts comes in and bids for Fox as well. Bob Iger essentially ends up paying about $70 billion in order to acquire all of these Fox assets for the strictly stated purpose of propping up streaming. With that, he buys a lot of linear, 66% of Fox's pro forma revenue comes from linear. So only a third of this is streaming. And Rupert Murdoch, with that $70 billion, turns around and buys $440 million worth of Tubi and almost has the same financial impact of all of this money that Bob Iger just put towards Disney Plus. $70 billion minus $440 million.
Wow.
Here. This is one of the greatest travesties. Rupert Murdoch must be laughing so hard right now.
All the way to the bank.
And of course, we also know because of Bloomberg and because we have eyeballs that Bluey is the most popular thing on Disney Plus. According to Bloomberg, 30% of all television streaming on Disney Plus is represented in one show that Disney just happened to get as an afterthought. How do we know it's an afterthought? Because when they said, hey, do you want the theme park and merchandising rights for this? They passed on it because they were going to be focusing on Disney Plus content that is branded to Disney. So they did not have full faith in Bluey. This was something they got the same way that the Patriots got Tom Brady as a lucky afterthought here. And now that's the only thing they talk about when they talk about their streaming service. This is one of the most amazing exposures of Bob Iger's lack of business acumen and everyone else showing up, this aw shucks weatherman who pretends like in interviews that he's, we're kind of, whatever you guys want to do, we'll try to we're storytellers here, all that mess. Rupert Murdoch took him to the cleaners worth $70 billion worth of money and showed him up with half a billion.
So between the Rupert Murdoch between the Comcast guy and the Rupert Fox guy, basically Bob's a moron.
I could not disagree with that assessment when you talk about a $69.5 billion loss.
Right. If Bob Iger's supposed to be an industry titan, the two titans that he's gone up against, he's essentially overbid for purses at the mall. It's like Bob Iger's that guy that goes into the Fendi or the Coach purse store or the Gucci store, and like the price tag says $2,500, and Bob's like, but can I give you 7,500? No, Bob will go, can I give you 7.5 million and get the case?
Well, Culture has been sitting and quiet, and Culture, you've been following this literally for years. So, Culture, we're at the point now where Disney Plus may have to have a free option to stop Tubi. So, give us your take on where we are now.
Well, it's the same take I had before we even started down the road of all this, falderall with streaming. We were going to end up exactly where we are, back with linear broadcast television, just in a different delivery method. So all Disney did was invest in a format. They didn't invest in, anything innovative. And they've cannibalized, and we've talked about this at length, their entire business model. I think you guys were just talking about that as well. At the end of the day, I'm going to continue to push back every time anybody says that they've only spent X number of billions of dollars. I mean, in content spend alone, the first year going into 2019, which they had been planning since 2017, and they started doing 4 years before that. So they have so much money tied up in this, and money we won't even know about, but they spent $3 billion in content the first year, which was the Star Wars series, the Marvel series, all the stuff we got early, like WandaVision and all of that. But you have to add into the calculation, as Jonas had already pointed out, they spent $70 billion for content before that. And between, then and now, you've seen what they've spent. I think their 2021 spend was $30 billion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right. If not, within $2 billion there.
Yeah. And then in 2022, did they spend $30 billion?
Yes.
So I'm going to continue to say they spent over $100 billion in order to make Disney Plus. And to add insult to injury, as Jonas already pointed out, Rupert Murdoch bought Tubi for $400 million.
And they cannibalize the parks to do it, by the way.
Yeah,
so they jeopardize other business streams. Not to mention the brand damage that was done by Disney Plus, which we always have to put a little note there. Most of the brand damage that has been done to Disney right now has been from content released to Disney Plus that they would not have put anywhere else.
But this is the chart everybody needs to know about. It doesn't need to be a secret any longer. It doesn't need to be something that Disney can sweep under the rug. We need to stop pretending that Disney is in a close second to Netflix. It's a lie. Drop it. I don't care what the legacy media says. I don't care what Disney says. Drop it. We don't need to facilitate this hallucination any longer. Disney Plus is nowhere close to second place. Let it go. Let it go. All right. Well, let's hit those super chats.
Bothered them anyway.
Yes.
They're about to. They're about to.
This is astounding. Like on a quarterly basis, you guys should track this and see. I mean, this is astounding. There's going to be a time, Pro, when you and Jonas wake up, Valiant, you guys, when you're going to wake up and there's going to be something in CNBC, probably given how behind the times they are with you guys, 6 months to a year from now, that when enough of these results post where they've lost successively enough months in a row where they finally wake up and smell the coffee that you've already brewed, that they're going to wake up and that stock price then is going to expose Disney Plus for the vaporware it always has been.
Well, as we say here on the channel sometimes, we are where the journalists come to get maybe next year's news articles.
It's not next days. I saw your by the way, your new intro is just awesome. I saw your new intro. It's not the next day. These guys are so far behind you. It's literally probably the following year.
Do you know why we had to do a new intro, Mike? It's because George the Giant Slayer, his intro shamed me so badly that I had to make sure we had something better. Mike, are you saying that Disney Plus is less valuable than an NFT at this point?
Wow.
Bro, I mean, if you wanted to buy Disney Plus, given how much it's lost, what value does it really have? You can't.
What's $30 billion in the hole?
I mean, what are you buying?
$30 billion in the hole.
It would be, if it was bought, it would be like that. Remember the AOL Time Warner deal where they went into and did the transaction and then had to write down like the value of half the value of the actual transaction. It would be like that. And one of these days, I'm convinced in about 2 or 3 years from now, I'll bet you they're going to write down the value of Disney Plus. They're going to take a $4 to $20 billion charge down minimal.
Well, I mean, as long as we're talking about that, let's just point out how they're going to hide the ball here, because we already know how they're going to hide the ball. Despite the fact that they could have put this content on Hulu, they could have done an arm's length transaction and figured out how to keep all of those Disney related, stuff to themselves. They could have worked that out with Comcast and whoever else in Fox and all of that. They could have said, you guys want Disney Plus content on here? We could do that. But instead they had to put it towards Disney Plus. What they're going to do now is they're going to bring in Hulu. And they started, and you were there, Mike, they used the words combined DTC when they talked about profitability here. They're going to combine Hulu and Disney Plus, and they're going to hide the ball with ESPN Plus, which has been a tragedy, even worse than Disney Plus when it comes to losses. They don't even talk about that one on earnings call. They're going to combine it all together. They're going to get in front of Hulu and pretend like putting Disney on top of Hulu. Once they kill Hulu, they're going to pretend like they were profitable the entire way down. And this is unacceptable to me. If I was a shareholder in the Disney company, this would be an insult of the highest order.
Okay, but that's just another form of vaporware, and I think you're 100% right, and I agree with your assessment. The thing is that's going to kill them is that we know from your expose that you've covered, both of you, on your channels. We know how their advertising works. They just can't sell advertising. It has to be advertising that's wokey woke and blah, 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 blah. They basically limit their own ability to be in the free marketplace to take advertising from anybody, anytime. And even if they do, there's a process as to how long it takes an advertiser to get on their networks. We know that from your coverage in the past. Remember? Right.
Right.
All right. So now you got Tubi, which guess what? They're going to be far more nimble, and they're going to go grab those advertisers faster and quicker off of their own content, which they licensed out. And so they're basically going to, not only are they taking your content, but they're going to go sell it out in the advertising marketplace faster than you of your own content. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I cannot even imagine these. Oh my God, I agree.
And they're gonna say to advertisers, unlike Disney, they're gonna say, woke schmoke, it's so much a minute. How much do you want?
Exactly, Lou. Bingo. Bing, 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 bing. Exactly.
Folks, we've come to the end yet again, but a joy was had, on our part at least. Thank you for being here. Like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. We would love to know what's on your mind. Don't forget that the Pro Show is live on Tuesdays at noon. And of course, that Park Place Live is also available to you at noon live as well. That's Thursdays. And that means you've got something on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, but what to fill in those Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? Well, Midnight's Edge, of course. 3 channels, same exact slot, 5 days a week. You have somewhere to be, so be there. We will appreciate you. We promise. You're seen, you're heard. Like, share, subscribe, folks. And don't forget, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.